Hey, welcome back to JSA TV. We are live here at Metro Connect 2026, covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations with leaders in digital infrastructure. I am so excited right now for this conversation. I am joined by Brian Smith. He is the CTO for Nuclear Science and Technology at the Idaho National Laboratory. And then Mark Gusakov is the CEO for the Digital Infrastructure Alliance. I think you're laughing at me because you were worried about having a frog in your throat, and I ended up having a frog in my throat.
I'm mostly laughing because Dean Perrine, he's eating his heart out right now because he's not here. So wish you were here, Dean.
Yes, we miss you, Dean, but I am excited that I am here and get to have this conversation.
As are we, a fresh face too. And whenever I do Dean, it always like I'm looking in a mirror. So thank you for being
a little different this time. Okay, happy to help. Happy to help.
And it's like I'm looking in a mirror, so I'm not sure what's going on.
That's true.
There you go. Well, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I want to start just understanding your companies a little bit better, and then we're going to get into how you work together. But I would love to hear, Brian, first off, just about Idaho National Laboratory and what you all do.
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you. It is a thrill to be here. Idaho National Laboratory is one of 17 national laboratories in the United States. A lot of folks don't realize that there is this national laboratory network, all 17 labs owned by the Department of Energy. So you can tell right away there's kind of an energy focus, except the cool thing, and it's worth researching, the national labs do a whole lot of cutting edge scientific innovation, research, development, demonstration, very cool network of laboratories. Idaho National Lab happens to be the lead laboratory for nuclear energy research, development, and demonstration. So you might start you're probably putting together why INL kind of has a presence here.
Yes.
And really, when we talk about powering artificial intelligence, powering the digital infrastructure community, nuclear really kind of sits at the forefront of those conversations that are ongoing. I've really enjoyed bringing the nuclear conversation into the digital infrastructure, kind of broader conversation. I did a long career in the federal government, retired from the Department of Energy last year, and joined the laboratory last January, over a year ago now.
Yeah.
And it's just been and retired from the Navy in January. Well, thank you. Yeah, so it's been I've spent my career thinking about nuclear, and now is the time to think about how nuclear can power digital infrastructure as soon as possible.
And it's kind of the next frontier. A lot of people talking about nuclear and how it's going to come about. So yeah, thank you for being here. And then also would love to hear just about Digital Infrastructure Alliance and what you all do.
Yeah, so thank you so much for letting us talk about it too, because it is important. Really, the main mantra of what we're doing with Digital Infrastructure Alliance is dispelling all false perceptions of competition in the industry, really trying to bring everyone together and unite this industry for the betterment of what the global digital economy is going to look like, what the advancement of AI is going to look like. And we do that through partnerships, having a really nice engagement and experience with JSA and people like you, also the folks here at Data Cloud, being able to work with them and, being able to work with people like with Brian.
Yeah.
And we do that across, the Digital Infrastructure Alliance. And we also have an event group called Connect Data. We just did an event series in Dallas-Fort Worth last week that was incredible success. We have 3 more of those coming this year, Atlanta, Chicago, and Columbus, Ohio. We really focus on emerging markets. And then we also give back to nonprofit organizations like Infrastructure Masons. They attended our event. They were a big promoter. We also do a lot of work. I know I talk about Nomad Futurist a lot when I do these, being an advisor for them. So we really want to bring everyone in the industry together and make this the best it can possibly be. It's already great.
Yeah.
We really want to bring everyone together and get everyone working together.
Excellent. Great. Well, in that spirit, let's talk about this partnership right here. So how do you guys work together? Tell me a little bit more about it.
I think she's talking about me and you.
Yeah, right? It's true. It's true.
One of the beautiful things about this relationship that we've had for the last year plus is we got introduced by a mutual friend in the industry, Bill Picard, happened to be your next door neighbor.
My next door neighbor.
Wow. Small world, right?
I think Bill and I met in a small claims court, if I remember right. There was something going on. Yeah, that ugly story. Sorry, Bill, if I outed you on that one. But Bill Picard introduced both of us at the time. Bill was at Prime, and Brian's next door neighbor, and said, "Hey, I really have somebody I'd like you to meet." And Brian and I started talking, and very quickly, Brian realized that I had personal passions in the nuclear industry. Going back to when I was a little kid, my father would take us to an open house at one of the demonstration projects in Springville, New York, West Valley Demonstration Project, where they stored low-level waste and not spent fuel, but low-level waste, which is a different thing. And during that time, I really had a good education and learned about that. What we decided we were going to do, I've been very lucky to partner with Brian, and INL has been really nice to turn him loose and let us work together. We've traveled all over the world, and we've attempted to demystify what nuclear is, not only for our industry, but for people in general who have perceptions that, radioactive material is glowing green goo, or it's red or orange, and, people have, 4 arms and 5 legs and all this crazy stuff. So we've really tried to bring, attention to what it really is and what it really means for the benefit of our future. And you can't do that alone. Brian's really good at bringing nuclear to data centers. I'm bringing data centers back to nuclear. We're on our second event at INL. We're going to do a third one this year. This fall. We'll talk about the other thing that's coming now. But Brian, what do you want to say about the partnership and what it's evolved into?
Nuclear, for so long, nuclear technology has been kind of traditionally grid-facing technology with large-scale nuclear reactors. Think 1,000 megawatts or so, per reactor. And there's 94 of those operating in the U.S. today. It puts 20% of the electrons on the grid. Electricity in the U.S. is 20% is nuclear. So that is great, and we could talk for days all about the benefits of nuclear power and why that matters in America. But and I tell you, the watershed moment was November 2022 when ChatGPT came out, and this industry realized that those load growth projections were real, and we were going to have to wrestle with how do we power this AI revolution. That's when, as I sat at that time at the Department of Energy, that's when I realized, okay, this is a new market catalyst for new nuclear technologies. And the conversation is a bit more complicated than what we experience when we talk, say, just with utilities, nuclear owner-operators. Powering AI is a critical aspect of U.S. national security, and nuclear has to have a role to play. But then how does the nuclear industry get into that conversation, right? That's what we're talking about with this partnership. With Mark's influence, his reach within the industry, those nuclear conversations were going to happen at the data center conferences or workshops or summits. Those were going to happen anyway. So much better if somebody, in the industry, I've got time at Department of Energy, I've got time in the House of Representatives, with what I've done to write legislation or enact legislation at the federal level to move forward with advanced nuclear adoption, development, and commercialization. How good is it if I can embed myself in the industry via Mark's reach and influence? The two of us can sit on stage and talk about what it means to develop and deploy advanced nuclear technologies. I can be an honest broker in that conversation and make sure that all those newspaper articles and a conversation like this, you all are helping me and us get that conversation out there so that we can talk about what's real, what's not, what's exciting, and why we should be excited about what's coming in this decade for advanced nuclear.
Don't you feel like you want to join our cult?
I did. You guys are convincing me. Maybe,
yeah. You can tell we're both.
Let me know what positions you have open in the cult, and I will consider it.
We don't have any Kool-Aid. We don't have none of this, but we are very passionate about this. So it's
I can tell. Yeah, and thank you guys for sharing that. And you're actually going to have the opportunity. You talked about you guys coming to these events and doing things together. You're going to have that opportunity later on a panel. So just would love to hear what that panel's about. When's it happening for anybody who might be watching?
No, thank you for opening that. Yeah, here at Metro Connect tomorrow, Mark and I are going to be part of a panel that's really talking about these themes, powering the AI revolution. How do we scale digital infrastructure and the power to run it? How do we move forward as quickly as possible? As we all know, that conversation is, the expectations are, let's get this done yesterday. Right, and so tomorrow's panel is going to kind of unpack what it is that we have ongoing and where are some opportunities to further accelerate the process.
A lot of people ask me all the time at home, where we don't have a lot of data centers in Western New York. They want to know what I'm doing. I show them some of these videos. This helps kind of explain it. And where I'm going with that is there's a lot of misconception and misguidance and gaps in how we're relating to the community. And what Brian was just talking about really resonates with me and also the community in general is there's two very distinct things happening within AI right now. One is how are we as an industry going to deploy that at scale? And how are we going to give the public what the public is already using and already wants? But the second piece of that is, how is AI going to be used? What's the use case for that? Everybody's going to have a different opinion about that. Brian was really, I'll say, a gentleman when you asked me to go speak at the American Nuclear Society Summit in Chicago. And it was very eye-opening to me that the topics and the questions that existed were very much the same topics that we're seeing here. You know, what is AI? How are we going to do it? How does this thing look? But the content was not around the brick and mortar and the fiber and the transmission. It was about, when we use AI to write this code, what does that look like?
Yeah.
They're more focused on the use case, and our industry is more focused on the deployment. Those two worlds must come together, and that's one of the reasons we're doing this, because at INL, I mean, last time I was there, you guys walked me through and showed me the supercomputer, and we talked about how you guys are running all the, all the code for that and what that means, writing the recipes for research. But our industry doesn't think about that, and we should. And your side of the industry needs to think about, how are we going to get this powered so that you have the power to continue running that. That's where this relationship comes in.
We've got some very exciting, I say we, in the national laboratories, the U.S. federal government, some exciting initiatives going on to leverage AI. The Genesis mission, I think, sort of brings all of that to the forefront. Folks can look up what Genesis mission is. But we at Idaho National Lab, we've got a role to play in specific aspects of the Genesis mission to use AI to accelerate the development and deployment of advanced nuclear technologies. Very, very exciting stuff. But to Mark's point, we always have to remain mindful that the only way we get to leverage these AI tools is if we are building out the infrastructure and powering that infrastructure. That to me is kind of the bread and butter. There's some super smart people at the laboratory designing AI tools to go get at this. I always reference myself as kind of the dumb nuclear guy. I'm just here to power the stuff. So it is. There's a lot going on, and we can think about it almost in this cycle, this very exciting cycle of AI for nuclear and nuclear for AI. And there's just so much we can get into as we talk about those things on stages.
Yeah. Excellent. And you guys are going to have another huge stage, even bigger than the one tomorrow. Well, maybe, similar size, but you're going to be at Data Cloud Global in Cannes, specifically at the Global Nuclear Summit there. Tell me a little bit what that looks like. What are you guys doing at that event together?
I think this is the ultimate form of partnership in any category I can imagine. So we're really fortunate to be working with the folks at Data Cloud. They asked both of us simultaneously, separately but simultaneously, if we wanted to do something in this category. We both said yes, separately, simultaneously. And then we got on the phones together. We're like, hey, I just got this cool call to go do this thing. Brian's like, I got a call to do the same thing. So we are together putting on a global nuclear summit with the folks at Data Cloud to bring in world leaders to discuss what that deployment looks like. Brian's got a lot of resources within the government. I'm kind of taking more of the digital infrastructure and data center approach to it. First session is going to be closed door, and we're going to talk about really how we want to create an agenda and what the action items are going to be from the end of that. Second session is going to be open to the public. So we're going to be at Data Cloud Global Congress. Come by and check us out. Reach out to us. Do you have anything that you want to add to that? What we're going to achieve?
I just say
we have action items.
Yeah, and I'm so excited about the opportunity. Right, as we talk about everything going on in the United States to accelerate the deployment of advanced nuclear technologies, that is one thing. But we're always mindful, and in fact, our sponsor, the Department of Energy, as I mentioned, Idaho National Lab, owned by the Department of Energy. Not surprisingly, there's an international affairs component of that, even within the Office of Nuclear Energy. So they're always thinking about ways for the U.S. to be the leader on the world stage when it comes to the energy agenda, but specifically in my domain, the nuclear energy agenda. So this is a fantastic opportunity to show that U.S. leadership in a global setting and help partners and allies, all of those friends that we have around the globe, show them what we're doing in the U.S. to kind of lead on that data center build out and powering digital infrastructure with nuclear technologies. What a great opportunity to bring those conversations to a global setting.
Tomorrow on the panel, we always talk about this. It's one of the things we do to demystify the space. But you reminded me of something that we love to talk about, is that in North America, we've had like a 2-decade deficit in commercial deployment. Very little, 2 facilities in 20 years that we've actually deployed something like that. Am I right?
Yeah, the Georgia facilities, Vogels 3 and 4, in 23 and 24.
And that's all we've had for commercial deployment. And other countries are really deploying at scale to keep up with this. But when we talk about that and some of the false public perceptions that exist for why we didn't do that, some of the inherent, doomsday risks that occur, what we fail to mention a lot of the time when the conversation opportunity presents itself is we never stopped with research. We doubled down on research during that time. And thanks for Idaho National Labs continuing to do that, and our friends at Oak Ridge, Jeff Hughes and his work at Oak Ridge, being able to come together and work with him on some of this. Name dropped again. I love to name drop because I like the cool people in the industry, but those are some of the things that we feel are pretty important and pretty passionate about.
I love that you say that, because that speaks back to that national laboratory mission, the nuclear energy research development, that those core capabilities. We never lost those in this country, even if commercial deployments weren't happening at the rate that maybe we think they should have been. But the beauty is, we in the national laboratory system, the federal stance on this, the Department of Energy, we're ready for this moment because we've got decades of underlying research to make sure that these advanced nuclear technologies are ready to go off and deploy at scale. So again, exciting times.
I love that. Well, we're excited to see where it goes from here. Lots of exciting things happening. So thank you both so much for being here. It was great to talk with both of you and meet you both.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And to our viewers, stay curious, stay connected, and happy networking.